what we will be looking at is, so all in all, companies currently are working in an unpredictable environment, but we thought uncertainty and also disruption are significantly more pronounced in the TMT industry, at least for many players in the industry. And therefore, we choose some topics where we wanted to highlight that, and also share our practical experience on how to deal with this insecurity and uncertainty. And as TMT is also the forerunner for digitalization and digital value chains, and we see increasingly business models coming up with, let's say, everything as a service, so infrastructure as a service, hardware, software as a service. We want also to highlight two cases in which we have the German tax authorities trying to increase the tax revenue in these business models. So let us start with the phenomenon of what we call deep technology. And with that, I would like to hand over to Yvonne.
Yes, thank you so much. So we thought how to introduce the technology changes for today. And this is a nice graph from Gartner's. It's the so-called hype curve of deep technology. Not to get hung up too much on the term deep technologies, you will hear that a lot in connection with R&D. So really sci-fi stuff where you may have still a long way to go until you see any commercial applications on which you will have the tax implications on top. But the concept is really important, I think, and it will help us to think about how to deal with kind of technologies that are really clearly new, where transfer pricing inherently kind of tries to rely on something that's comparable, on something that was already there by definition, right? Because when you set your prices and we try to make your decision about how to remunerate things, you always look in the past because that's where the data is, right? And if you look back and there is nothing, then you are a bit at a loss. So my goal is a little bit to put you kind of out there into outer space and to make you feel really uncertain about everything. And this curve will probably emphasize this point. You will see along the lines here things you may or may not be aware what they actually are. I see some kind of computing technologies, DNA computing, I think quantum computing is in there somewhere, photonics. Don't ask me what all of this is, but you will also in the older Gartner curves probably especially find technologies that are more familiar meanwhile with us. Like you will find curves where you can see 5G, for instance, or blockchain, right? Things that are closer to things that we're already interacting with on a more or less kind of mass level. So the curve tries to tell us that there are different phases to how a new technology is perceived and treated in the public, if you will, in the relevant public. So you can see the steep kind of going upwards thing with a peak of inflated expectations